This brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. This brand is in decline. This brand is in decline.
Let's face it, Bud Light went woke and now completely embraces the homosexual and transgender agenda. That's the exact opposite of what America was founded upon. But do they care? Hell no. They laugh in our faces and openly mock traditional values, such as when they ran a commercial showing two men getting married. To them, that's normal.
The Bud Light party here, celebrating Steve and Greg's wedding.
Gay weddings, they're just like any wedding.
It started way before this guy. Bud Light has been pushing this crap on us for a very long time now, and we're done. Which is why Kid Rock said, "Fuck you, Budweiser. Fuck you, Anheuser-Busch." He's finished, and so is the rest of America. Which is why millions of you say you'll never buy Bud Light again, because they hate you. And to add insult to injury, the CEO of Bud Light gave the worst apology ever in the history of apologies. In fact, he never apologized for anything, and he gave their woke VP of marketing a mere leave of absence, instead of firing her. They're just waiting for all of this to blow over and they think we'll forget all about it. But we will never ever forget. They've been shoving their ads with gay weddings, rainbow-covered beer bottles, and beer cans plastered with their precious pronouns down our throats for nearly a decade. Did you ever think that maybe we just want to enjoy a beer without all your liberal politics and woke bullshit shoved in our faces? And if that wasn't enough, Bud Light doubled down and brought out this creepy drag queen and female impersonator to be their paid spokesman. A spokesman who makes a mockery of women by pretending to be a 6-year-old girl prancing around in her bedroom. What could be more creepy than that? A grown man posing as a child.
I am Eloise. I am 6. I'm a city child. I live at the Plaza Hotel, which is huge and wonderful and très elegant, especially at Christmas time.
Mulvaney is to women what Al Jolson was to black people, nothing but a grotesque and insulting caricature. And that's literally the new face of Bud Light. They forever immortalized him by putting his face on a can to celebrate his first year of pretending to be a woman. Bud Light will now always be known as the king of queers. How ironic that Bud Light's first female vice president of marketing would show such disrespect for women. Well, guess what? Red-blooded American men aren't going to stand for it. Bud Light may be perverted enough to believe that women have penises and that men can get pregnant, but their customers refuse to join in their sick delusion. And make no mistake, by honoring this Mulvaney character with his face on a beer can and congratulating him for, quote, "my first 365 days of girlhood," Bud Light is implying this guy is an actual woman. Why else would they honor him, if all they thought was that he was a deluded man having a psychotic meltdown? Bud Light tried cashing in on the tranny propaganda, that same propaganda that lies to children and corrupts their minds by telling them that boys can turn into girls. But they sure picked the wrong audience to practice their brainwashing on, and now their evil little social experiment has cost them almost $30 billion in lost revenue. Well, guess what, Bud Light? That's just the beginning. Bud drinkers are not going to switch to one of the other brands made by Anheuser-Busch and let you keep on making a profit. Those brands include Beck's, Bass, Rolling Rock, Lowenbrau, Landshark, Brahma, Michelob, Corona, St. Pauli Girl, Negra Modelo, King Cobra, and Hurricane. Or how about Estrella, Pacifico, O'Doul's, Natural Ice, Kirin Light, Busch, Red Hook, Boddington's, Leffe, Labatt Blue, Hoegaarden, Shock Top, Goose Island, Margaritaville, and your precious Stella Artois. Did we forget any? If so, people can read the full list at boycottbudlight.org so they can boycott your entire line of products. Bottom line, we'll never buy from a company who sides with those who brainwash our teenagers with perverted lies about gender and sexuality and who promote drag queen story hour to groom little children. You thought you could wave a few flags and trot out the Clydesdales and your corporate sins would magically disappear. No freaking way. The CEO of Bud Light is trying to please everybody, and he's ending up pleasing no one. He doesn't want to offend the LGBT crowd and their crazy followers, so he won't come out and say he fired his marketing staff for promoting the insane idea that men can turn into women. So he pretends that he takes transgenderism very seriously. They've already threatened that if Bud Light doesn't come out and reiterate their support for the lunatic transgender cause, then they'll see to it that Bud loses their coveted 100% LGBTQ rating, which means investment firms like BlackRock won't back them. On the other hand, if they do openly show their support, they're screwed. because they know that will be the final nail in their coffin. Conservatives will never buy from them again. But guess what? It's not just conservatives who despise the woke agenda. 50% of Democrats also oppose it. So Bud Light better pick a side. Either choose the majority of people who stand for decency or stand with the weirdos. It's quite a pickle they've gotten themselves into. And you know what? We have absolutely no sympathy for them, because they're the ones who chose to go all in on wokeness. For years, their ads have shown their utter contempt for all that is decent in America. They're not even an American-owned company, but are owned by Belgians. So all that folksy Americana they show in their ads is just a load of bullcrap. It's all designed to fool you into thinking they're one of us. They're not. They abandoned us years ago and have been rubbing their perverted values in our faces ever since. So screw you, Bud Light, and all of Anheuser-Busch. This boycott will continue. If you want it to stop, then publicly renounce your embrace of left-wing causes, like transgenderism. Promise to stop using your platform for political ideologies, and stick to making beer. You need to publicly fire everyone, the CEO included, who approved this transgender madness, and then say why you fired them. For wokeness. And you need to appoint some genuine conservatives to your board of directors to steer the company away from the perpetual insults and abuses Budweiser has now become known for. But here's the thing. You'll make none of those concessions, because liberals never admit failure. Instead, you'll just be a shell of what you used to be. And finally, after more than a month, the CEO of Bud Light's parent company, AB-InBev, finally broke his silence. And what did he say? Did he apologize for continually pushing their sexual agenda in our faces for all these years? Did he say that he rejects this transgender nonsense and promise to never pull a stunt like this ever again? Of course not. Instead, he claimed that none of this is their fault, and that it's all the fault of some outside advertising agency. Oh, really? Well, if that's the case, then why is your own VP of marketing on a leave of absence? What's the name of this phantom agency, and why aren't you suing them for costing you about $30 billion? He said, it wasn't a campaign. It was just one can. But here's the thing. It is a campaign, and it's been going on for years. You've proudly tweeted about your partnership with various LGBT groups, and now you want us to believe that you never knew the T stood for transgender, when you've been actively promoting the transgender lifestyle? Did you think we forgot your ad with Amy Schumer saying, I'm a politician and I've got a really big caucus? That's yet another thinly veiled reference to a woman having a penis in your years-long campaign to promote transgenderism. America isn't buying your load of crap, and you know what else they're not buying? Bud Light. It's getting sent back to the warehouse by the bus load, all because you stubbornly refuse to admit that forcing your queer and transgender agenda on us has been a colossal mistake. Instead, you want to play both sides of the culture war. Homosexuals are a small fraction of the population, and trannies are far less than that. And yet, that's the side you market to. You think you can promote the trans and gay lifestyle and also act like you're traditional, down-to-earth, God-fearing Americans. And you obviously think we're too dumb to notice the glaring contradiction. There's a verse in the Old Testament where God tells his people, I will forgive you, but first you must admit what you've done. Well, the same is true for corporations. You have to admit when you've done wrong. But you've now had 2 chances to apologize and admit your mistakes, and both times you refuse to accept any blame. Americans are a forgiving group of people. Except when people try to play us for suckers, then all bets are off. When Pee Wee Herman was arrested in a porno theater for public indecency, he went on Saturday Night Live, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Heard any good jokes lately?" He laughed at himself, and all was forgiven. When Hugh Grant got arrested for soliciting prostitution, he went on TV and gave a very humble and sincere apology, one that was not prepared by a team of crisis management experts, but was obviously from the heart.
Let me start with question number 1. What the hell were you thinking?
I think you know in life pretty much what's a good thing to do and what's a bad thing, and I did a bad thing, and there you have it.
He blamed no one but himself, and said he made a very stupid mistake, and all was forgiven. But when Bud Light slaps us in the face for years on end, do they apologize? Apparently not. Instead, we get folksy videos with country music and press releases blaming everyone but themselves. Bud Light used up their last chance to apologize. America has moved on. There are 1,000 other beers out there to choose from. Your VP of marketing was right when she said, "This brand is in decline and has been for a really long time." What she failed to mention is that it's a moral decline, and we're sure that the founders of Anheuser-Busch would be ashamed to see the filthy lifestyles that you now gladly promote. It's a decline in your very souls. Now your stock has been downgraded. You've lost that perfect 100 LGBTQ rating. You're practically giving your beer away for free and having to buy back expired beer that nobody wants. Senators are calling for an investigation into whether you used influencers to market alcohol to children, and now even gay bars are boycotting you. And the good, decent, hard-working people who trusted you, your distributors, are in fear of losing everything. They're taking out radio ads and begging customers to come back. And what's your solution? Camouflage beer cans, country music, and partnering with another woke and soon-to-be boycotted company, Harley-Davidson. It won't help you. You love LGBT, do you? Well, now it has a brand new meaning. Let's go boycott Anheuser-Busch. So long.
Attention passengers, now boycotting all Anheuser-Busch products.